So to date, the facility where we're located today remains the only facility purpose-built for offshore wind. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has invested over $100 million in the facility. It's a very early investment, but it's starting to pay off. Both Vineyard Wind and Mayflower Wind have leases with MassDC to use this facility to deploy their projects, starting in January 2023, stretching through at least the first half of 2027. And this facility is much more than than just asphalt and structural underpinnings. It's fundamentally a platform to help mitigate climate change and to drive economic development. On the climate side of things, and perhaps you've heard this, but the state has done quite a bit of analysis looking at what we need to do by 2050 in order to combat the worst effects of climate. And under every single scenario, the state has found that a minimum of 15 gigawatts of offshore wind is required for us to meet our goals. And you can't build those facilities without port infrastructure. That's the importance of this facility from a climate perspective. These projects cannot be built without facilities like this. Economic opportunity, without a doubt, and that's the focus of our gathering here today. This is where the action will be, particularly for the trades. Working hard to make sure that Mass workers are prepared to take advantage of these opportunities. Together with Vineyard Wind and Mayflower Wind, MassDC has funded academic and training programs across the Cape, the South Coast, and the islands. Organizations like Bristol Community College, Cape Cod Community College, Mass Maritime Academy, adult continuing education on Martha's Vineyard, and others. And perhaps most relevant to today's event, we've also been supporting the unions, both the pile drivers and divers, as well as IBEW, as they create the pipeline of workers that can be sent to these academic institutions for the training that is going to be required to build the projects offshore. And we need to ensure that these programs and these jobs are available to all of our workers, which means focusing particularly on those communities that historically have missed out on these programs and jobs. MassDC has dedicated funding to ensuring that we do all we can to provide equal opportunity to those communities. And we'll have a little bit more to say on that in the coming days and weeks. So I don't think it's any real mystery or breaking news that offshore wind has been sidelined on the federal level for a few years. But it's also not news that has been thrust back into the forefront of the national clean energy policy discussion. New Bedford and the South Coast are extremely fortunate to have such strong representation at the federal level. Congressman Bill Keating has been a longtime supporter of the state's efforts to center its offshore wind deployment efforts here in New Bedford, and few are as committed to maximizing those opportunities for the local community as he is. Congressman?
Thank you, Steve, and at the same time, thank you to partners and colleagues all. Everyone that's anyone in Massachusetts government is here, and it's a great opportunity. This is a historic day, truly is, for New Bedford, a city that was the source of energy in our early days of our country with whale oil. That became the financial engine for municipality and led to banking and investment. And here we are today in another historic day. You know, I was talking to so many people, Mayor Mitchell, all the people, about how often we talked about this day happening. And it was talk, and it was talk, and more talk. And to the extent that people, I'm afraid, began to believe this day would never happen. But today is the day that talk becomes action. And we're here to celebrate that. project alone, 3,600 jobs, 500 of them guaranteed to be good union jobs. And thank you for And it's not just jobs, it's the environment that's benefiting from today as well. 800 megawatts, 400,000 homes being able to meet their energy needs for a whole year, just with this alone. And what's going to happen in the future? The Biden administration is on course and working towards expanding that so that that turns into 44,000 direct jobs in this industry, 33,000 jobs that are attached to it, and 10 million homes being heated for a year and energy needs being met for a year with renewable, clean energy. This is why today is so historic. And it's also important, and this is where the workers, the unions, our municipal officials, our state officials, our federal officials all come together because this won't succeed. We're not claiming victory today. This won't succeed without strong education and training. And that's already in place. That's already happening. And we're going to see an expansion of that, which will make this the Silicon Valley of all the blue economy, right here in Massachusetts. Senator Markey on the Senate side, joined by Senator Warren, but his bill for offshore wins jobs and opportunities. And our bill on the House side that I sponsored, along with Representative Auchincloss, we want to move ahead to have that become a reality in this session, and I think it will. And we wanted to take advantage of what we've been able to do, not just today, but just this week, where we advanced, which will be moving forward through the House, more monies for education and training. That's money that would be allocated with the Community Project Fund. $1 million, for instance, for Mass Maritime, partner here today, $2 million for Bristol Community College here today on offshore winds education and training. So today, we say we move from talk to action. But starting tomorrow, it's moving from action to opportunity. So thank everyone that's here today dealing with this. It's a great day.
Thank you, Congressman. And while Congressman Jake Auchincloss is certainly new to the scene, he gets this. He understands the opportunity that offshore wind presents to the entirety of the South Coast. Congressman?
It's a privilege to be following up from Congressman Keating and to be working with him on this critically important initiative. Clean energy and offshore wind will be part of the next chapter of New Bedford's proud maritime tradition. And projects like this are a demonstration that when government and business and unions and educational institutions come together, we can create good jobs and chart a path for a sustainable economic future. The next time science denialists tell us, oh, fighting climate change is going to cost jobs, point them to New Bedford and say, it's not an either or, it's a yes and. We can take on climate change and we'll create good jobs while we're doing it. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with my partners in federal, state, local government, and business, and labor to ensure that New Bedford and southeastern Massachusetts roars into the 21st century clean energy economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. When Senator Elizabeth Warren launched her Blue New Deal in late 2019 with an emphasis on benefits to local communities, I have to imagine, Senator, that an announcement like the one that is being made today was right along the lines of what you envisioned. Senator?
Yes. We're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate climate action. We are here to celebrate jobs. I know this has been a long and hard process, and I'm just glad to be here for the historic signing of the nation's first project labor agreement for the offshore wind industry. It took a lot of hard work to get here, and I want to thank Frank Callahan, Dave Arujo, and Lars Peterson and their respective teams for the many long hours, the many long days, the many long months of work that you all put in, and the leadership that it took to make this a reality. Thank you for bringing us here. I also want to say a very special thank you to Mayor John Mitchell, who has been a tireless advocate for New Bedford and for this project. You know, you can't pick up the phone and talk to John without John saying, oh, and by the way, here's where we are, and as John always does, and here's what we need to get this agreement going forward. But we are here today in part because of his work. It is also the case that I want to thank Senate President Spilka, State Representative Roy, Secretary Theo Hardys, all for your long work, and of course my federal partners, best partner ever, Senator Markey, Congressman King, and Congressman Auchincloss. Now, I know the smart way to do this is just to go by all the thanks. I've now done them. So we've got this, but it is important to recognize the people who have put so much into this. These kind of things don't happen on their own. They happen because of long-term vision. They happen because of commitment and hard work. They happen because of real leadership. And while I speak about long-term commitment, actually one more person I must mention, and that is Gina McCarthy. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for representing the So it is so good to be here. You know, in the 19th century, New Bedford was a whaling port that was known as the city that lit the world. Now, 200 years later, the city is reclaiming that title by leading renewable offshore wind energy. This is America's first large-scale commercial offshore wind project, and it really positions New Bedford, the South Coast region, and the entire Commonwealth to be leaders in this sector. I know that Vineyard Wind initially selected New Bedford because of the outstanding wind strength off our shores, but this region has so much more to offer. Our other great strength is our powerful workforce. It takes highly skilled workers to build these projects, and communities across the South Coast have the brain power and the muscle power to make it happen. This PLA and the Vineyard Wind Project are critical to our efforts to combat climate change throughout the use of offshore wind. But we must also create good-paying union jobs while powering our nation. Projects like this can and should be built by unions. This project and the PLA that we'll be signing today are proof that we don't have to choose between addressing climate change or creating economic development. When we do it right, we do both. We do it in a way that creates good-paying union jobs for the communities that need them. Not only will this PLA produce new jobs for this project, it will also create a pathway for local workers to become part of a thriving union construction industry. This is not just about generating jobs, this is about generating careers. And we are building a strong, sustainable economy, starting right here in New Bedford. So I look forward to coming back when this project is finished. I'm counting on some serious ribbon cutting here. And to celebrate New Bedford once again becoming the city that lights the world. Thank you.
course, Senator Warren's Blue New Deal was a bit of a nod to the Green New Deal that had been introduced earlier that year. And that Green New Deal was merely the latest step in a long journey that Senator Markey started back in the late 70s, early 80s, fighting climate change before climate change was a thing. And if anyone has doubted the Senator's commitment, certainly that legislation, the new Green Deal, erased any doubt. Senator?
Thank you so much, Steve, for that introduction. And it's the dawn of a new day, a new era, a new industry here in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Not just for Massachusetts, but for the whole country. I want to thank everyone who is here, especially the workers who are going to be doing the job, not just this year, but for years to come, to provide for themselves and their families. And I want to thank everyone who is here. It's a multi-megawatt project with the powerful leadership that we have. My House partners, Congressman Bill Keating and Jake Auchincloss, New Bedford's Mayor John Mitchell, thank you for all of your great continued work. Our phenomenal Massachusetts Senate President Karen Spilka, this is being funded, state funding as well. Representative Jeff Roy, thank you for all of your work. For State Senator Mark Montigny, Mark Pacheco, Dylan Fernandez, and Chris Hendricks, and Jim Hawkins, and Paul Schmidt. I know you're here from the State House Representatives as well. And the distinguished Secretary T, thank you, here, the Secretary, the Commonwealth Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs. And the distinguished leader of the industry, John Lavelle, Dennis Arroyo, and Avangrid, and former United States Senator Mo Cowan. He's here today, representing General Electric. And let me give special acknowledgments to Frank Callahan. Frank negotiated this deal for the building trade, along with Dave Arujo for the Southeastern Mass Building Trades, and Lars Peterson, the CEO of Vineyard Grid. Thank you for putting this together. We had to go from 1918 to 2004 for the Red Sox to win a World Series. This has taken about 20 years, this vision that becomes a reality here today, and it takes a special team to make history. And this group has risen to every challenge along the way. With the vision and support of our great President Joe Biden, we are making the Vineyard Wind Project a reality and a model for the rest of the country. Today is one for the history book. And I'm grateful. And as Senator Warren said, it's just a pleasure to be here in beautiful New Bedford, the whaling city. Massachusetts and this historic city of New Bedford were once the nation's leading power producer when Melville wrote Moby Dick by the light of a whale oil lamp. Now, in the 21st century, New Bedford is again at the forefront of a new energy revolution, a clean energy revolution powered by the winds off of our shores. And what's going to happen now is that something special is going to unfold over the next several years. Massachusetts is going to be the fishing capital of the United States and the wind capital of the United States. Even as we unfold this new wind industrial revolution here in New Bedford. And two other forces of nature are here today, powering Massachusetts' future. One, my great friend and partner in the United States Senate, Elizabeth Warren. I am so grateful for your leadership and partnership building America's clean energy backbone in Massachusetts. And I'm also honored to be joined by America's climate czar and climate star, the great Gina McCarthy. She is a Bay Stater, but she makes it quite clear that we're also brain staters. And there's no one better than Gina to chart our nation's energy action, our climate future that we need to an historic level, and with an accent that we can all understand. We're here today to celebrate a new horizon in our energy future, an horizon steeped in sea blue, dotted by foamy shoals and rolling waves. It is a clean energy future fueled not only by the winds of our shores, but by the winds of change. A change from a past beholden to oil wells and gas pumps, a change that will bring freedom from harmful pollution and the worst impacts of the climate crisis, a change that will bring careers and opportunity and justice to our state and our country. And that freedom from our polluting past has its home right here on the South Coast. With today's project labor agreement, we will begin to build opportunity and equity as we build the first utility-scale offshore wind project in the United States. And do you know what this project labor agreement, Vineyard Wind 1 project, will create? More than 500 union jobs in construction, manufacturing, installation, and maintenance. And these positions will have prevailing wages, real benefits, first of their kind, workforce development opportunities. These won't be jobs that come and go with the wind, but wind energy careers that stand the test of time, support families, and unlock brand new opportunities for our highly trained Massachusetts union workforce. The energy pipeline we are building here at Vineyard Wind will carry a diverse pool of new workers from vulnerable and underserved communities, many of whom have been most directly affected by our polluting past and ongoing climate crisis. And it will fuel opportunity, diversity, and access, and justice. This project labor agreement will see $500,000 go towards bolstering pre-apprenticeship and recruitment programs that will create opportunities for low-income residents and communities of color. Thank you, Bristol Community College. Thank you to Mass Maritime. Thank you for your role in giving young people a chance to learn these skills. This PLA represents the best possible step on the road to a clean energy future. It's been a long road to get here, but we have so many opportunities and jobs to come. In December of 2020, Senator Warren and I, working with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, were able to add a 5-year investment tax credit for offshore wind facilities at 30% tax rate. But our work will not stop there. We're working with Gina McCarthy to add another 5 years to make it a 10-year tax rate. There is a predictable pathway going forward. In the budget package Congress is poised to pass in the coming weeks, we're going to pass new tax credits and extend existing credits for wind and solar and incentivize the development of green energy infrastructure across Massachusetts and across our country. And I'm also looking at legislative proposals with Senator Warren to create an offshore wind manufacturing tax credit and at reintroducing legislation to support offshore wind training programs and apprenticeships, which will help ensure that the United States offshore wind revolution is made in America by union workers. Thanks to President Biden's leadership, we're moving forward on what will hopefully be the most significant climate action bill in generations to create jobs, build equity, and combat the climate crisis. We have a lot of work left to do, but we're poised to make the kind of investments and take the kind of action that the urgency of the climate crisis demands. The momentum that we now have on offshore wind is going to lead to a sea change in clean energy and our economy. that could protect future generations. Offshore wind is the perfect example of job creation that will save all of creation. And thanks to the hard work of those of you who are here today, it's not just any jobs, but good paying union jobs. Thank you for having me here with you today. And now, I would like to introduce my friend and the most skilled and tenacious climate warrior with whom I've had the honor to work. She has the leadership ability, the universal respect to coordinate all aspects of our response to this existential crisis and is already making tremendous progress on clean energy and climate solutions. Please welcome United States domestic climate czar, Gina McCarthy.
Podium was made for people his height. It really picked me up. Listen, I want to try to be very brief, but it's really great to be home. It's great to be home so that when I do say carbon emissions, people don't go, what? But I just have to thank folks on the stage because this has been an incredible partnership. This project would never have happened if it weren't in Massachusetts. We are the most stubborn, tenacious, committed state in the world. I'm really excited about it. But Senator Markey, thank you for the introduction. And Senator Warren, I guess you're going to have to take a lift from his Bible or something. And I don't know what. Because these are all ridiculous titles. Because they all just amount to people working together to make good things happen, not for the Republicans or Democrats, but for the people of the United States of America. By saying that the two most important human beings sitting on the stage are President Callahan from the Mass Builders Trade Union, and I want to also mention President Arroyo from the Southeast Mass Builders Trade. I am locked in the White House most times, but because this is about a project labor agreement, I am here and I will be here every single time. This project labor agreement is really a testament to the fact that unions built this country. And as President Biden says over and over again, the unions will build it back better. The Win-Win project would never have happened if it weren't for every human being sitting at this table. The partnership between the federal government, the state government, our local communities, the private sector, the unions, all made this work. And let me tell you that this project, while it's terrific, is not going to be the only thing we get to celebrate this year in offshore wind. Because we are going to meet President Biden's goal of 30 gigawatts of offshore wind in America by 2030. You can count on that. Climate change. And we can do that as long as we invest in America again, as long as we invest in our workers again. We will move forward as a country if we do exactly what we did in this project, and that is to never give up on the United States of America and our ability to be a leader in the world in a way that will bring every community and every worker along with us, especially New York. So, take pride in everything we're doing. We have a president that is so fully behind you that he let me escape for the day and come back home again. And he knows, and I think you know, that unions and labor have to be part of the equation as
Thank you, Gina. A little surprised that Gina didn't touch on the intersection of climate change, the environment, and public health. I've heard for decades Gina emphasizing the importance of environmental and climate issues.
Yeah, shouldn't have opened that door, I suppose.
So the city of New Bedford has been the leading edge of this industry for the better part of the last decade plus. And Mayor John Mitchell has been a fantastic partner to not just Mass CC, but the industry as a whole. And it's in no small part due to his absolute laser focus on making the city the center of gravity for the offshore wind industry. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Steve, and welcome everyone to the Port of New Bedford. I have some things also to offer. I want to start with Gina Markey. Great to see you back in New Bedford. Yes, and you're out of the sun this time. We had a great ribbon cutting some 4 years ago for a solar farm, and if I remember correctly, you told me you had an aunt and uncle who lived on Cottage Street, right here, right? Shout out to them, right? So, yeah, absolutely. So she said, yes, no, that's all right. You made an impression. But thank you for all of your leadership. It's great to have you at the helm. It really is. And President Biden has you're absolutely right. You are preaching to the choir. President Biden has made it really clear that he's all about doing everything possible to stem the effects of climate change and create jobs at the same time. Good union jobs, the kind that we're talking about here today. So this is everybody's wheelhouse, and we so appreciate the administration's support. I want to give a shout out to our federal delegation, to Senators Warren and Markey, as well as Representatives Keating and Fox. You heard it from them. I'll say it from my vantage point. When it comes to climate change, when it comes to promoting the offshore wind industry, when it comes to creating opportunity for folks in Greater New Bedford, they're all over it. They are all over it all the time. And yes, I do assert those 5 ways. I refrain from doing that today, so far. But they are right. They care about this a lot. They put the work in, they put the homework in, and these are the results. This is a great team effort here. I want to say thanks and congratulations to Frank Callahan and Gerard Dewey, who's over there, Dave Ruggiero, and lots of other folks who, over the years, spent a lot of time talking about this. And that Cape Wind thing, of course, but you guys persisted, and everyone else persisted, and that consistency led to something really great. So I really want to congratulate all of you. I want to thank also, there are a couple of other union folks that I do want to point out, Mr. Lewis from the Southeast Task Force. From the International Longshoremen's Association, local here in New Bedford. Our state delegation, Senators Montigny and Pacheco, and all of the state reps have been very supportive at the state level, along with the Baker administration and Secretary Mayor Harris is here. Really appreciate their hard work as well. This is about opportunity, and Steve alluded to that a moment ago. And that's the business we are in. My grandfather immigrated from this country with a third grade education. He came by so many others to this city to fish. And what gets me up in the morning every day is the knowledge that the work that we do here in New Bedford holds the possibility that we can throw the doors open to the American dream to more people, to more deserving people, people who work hard and play by the rules and want to provide for their families and live a good life here in our city and here in our region. And what we're talking about here today is something, frankly, that is absolutely aligned with all of our efforts, as concerted as they are, as determined as they are. There are obstacles, of course. When we talk about equity, it isn't enough just to say that we're going to throw the doors open to everybody. It requires exertion, it requires reaching out. And as Senator Markey said as recently as a week ago at the last event we did, just up the street at the North Terminal, you need to pull people in. And he's absolutely right about that. And so we're going to be pulling people in to make sure that they, if they want to work hard, if they want to be part of the team, that they get that chance as well. That's where we and then secondly, when we talk about inequality in America, one other thing to consider, and this is really relevant here, is that in the winner-take-all economy of the last 20 years, inequality has manifested itself along geographic lines, right? Superstar cities, and I won't mention the one that we have in this state, are places where capital and talent have been gravitating for a long time. We've got to figure out the rest of America. And as a place that is not part of a major metro, our job in New Bedford is to, as the song goes, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. And that's what we're doing here. We have the best senior workforce in America. We've got a strong work ethic. We've got great infrastructure. We've got great union support. There is universal political support for what we're doing here. And now it's our time to drive it. So we're going to work hard with our great friend, Lars Peterson, who has just been such a terrific partner here. So understands exactly, not only where he sits as CEO, but his own background, back home in Denmark, that what we're trying to achieve here. It happens at the state level. President Spilka, a huge supporter of offshore wind, knows that as well, and everyone here does. And so our job now is to roll up our sleeves and get down to work. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank Senator Montigny, Senator Pacheco, Representative Paul Schmidt, I believe is here as well, Representative Hendricks, Representative Fernandez, Rep. Hopkins as well, I believe is in the crowd, and I know that Representative Cabral would like to be here. He unfortunately had some prior obligations. So somebody relatively new to the offshore wind scene is Representative Jeff Roy. He's been as relatively new chair of the state's Telecommunications, Utilities, and Energy Committee on Beacon Hill. He's been thrown right into the deep end, negotiating the so-called climate bill, which increased the Commonwealth's commitment to offshore wind just a few short months ago. Chairman?
Thank you so much. I want to say what a great thrill it is to be here down in New Bedford and be part of this historic agreement. And I agree with you, Gina McCarthy. I hope this is the first of many, many events that we have down here in New Bedford to celebrate offshore wind and the development of offshore wind. And the other thing I would say, Gina, when you get back to the White House, I'd ask for you to whisper in the president's ear a similar line as he whispered after healthcare was provided. And this is a big effing deal. So would you please pass that message? And I want to say, on behalf of Speaker Ron Mariano, when he appointed me to this committee in February of this year, he instructed me to focus on offshore wind, focus on ways that we can make Massachusetts the most robust source of wind energy in the entire United States of America. And we have beautiful wind 14 miles off the coast here, and we need to take advantage of it with our higher ed partners from Bristol Community College. I see folks from Mass Maritime, and I've seen folks from UMass Dartmouth. But we can't do it without our friends in labor, and I'm so glad that one of the first things we're doing is signing a project labor agreement, because we need you folks to achieve the most robust wind energy in the United States. And I do say that that roadmap bill, which was the first bill I had to take on as the chair, we increased the procurement by 2,400 megawatts to bring Massachusetts up to 56 megawatts of wind power, and we're going to do it all together. And I'm so delighted that we have state partners, federal partners, local officials here, and the secretary. So many people I have seen today in this tent that I've only seen over Zoom for the past several months. So it's great to see you live. It's great to be working with you on this effort, and I look forward to coming back several times. So thank you very much. Congratulations to everyone involved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, folks often speculate as to exactly how and when offshore wind took hold in Massachusetts. Senator Pacheco and I were talking about this before the event, and I can tell you that the seeds were planted not in the United States, but actually in Denmark. When a group of legislators, including now Senate President Karen Spilka and now Speaker Ron Mariano, saw firsthand how offshore wind had transformed that country's energy system, as well as reinvigorated so many of its poor communities. Since returning from that trip, both the Senate President and the Speaker have been strong advocates for offshore wind. Senate President?
Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon. Since the whole pandemic, I have refused to wear a watch. So I think it's afternoon. It's great to see you. Thank you, Steve, for all that you're doing and for the work of the Mass Clean Energy Center. Thank you, Mayor, for hosting us and for being such a champion for this and so many other issues to help propel New Bedford forward. I'd like to thank, there's a lot of people, but I do want to acknowledge our wonderful federal delegation. It's great always to be here with them, Senators Warren and Markey, and Congressman Keating and Auchincloss, and my colleagues in the Senate, Senator Montigny and Pacheco, and our great colleagues from the House, and Secretary O'Harity, great partner as well. And I do want to welcome back and thank again our hometown national climate czar, Gina McCarthy, who we know this would not be taking place but for Gina's hard work and the Biden administration's hard work in getting this done. So thank you. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the hard-working teams at Vineyard Wind and Lars Peterson, thank you, and especially Frank Callahan and Dave Arigio for negotiating this. It doesn't just get done. It's taken years. They say good things take a long time, so I guess this is a very good thing. So congratulations. Around 30 years ago, I began my professional career as a labor and employment lawyer working for the Mass Water Resources Authority. There, one of my proudest achievements to date, 30 years later, is that I helped write and negotiate the project labor agreement for the ambitious cleanup of the Boston Harbor at the Deer Island wastewater treatment plant. That project, yes, that project, we celebrate it now, is a long time coming too, but that project was about taking care of our environment. And that project was a tremendous success. It helped our region not only clean up the harbor and take care of our environment, but it helped our region compete for economic growth and development. Doing it through a project labor agreement ensured, I believe, that it would be done on time, on budget, or under budget, which with the highest level of quality, the highest level of safety that only our Massachusetts trades can bring. projects not only in Massachusetts, but across the nation. So it is with great joy and enthusiasm that I join you all here today to celebrate another transformative project which combines two professional interests of mine: a clean, green environment and a thriving economy built from the middle out with good paying jobs, good middle class jobs. Expanded offshore wind is an idea conceived and championed in the Massachusetts legislature, most recently by our terrific next generation climate change legislation, and we will not stop there. From the beginning, the legislature has been supportive of this project. As was mentioned, I was thankful and lucky enough to do a trip to Denmark with the current speaker years ago to see the incredible offshore wind farms off of Denmark. We stand ready to continue that support. And while we work to promote environmentally sustainable practices in the Commonwealth, I am a firm believer that economic benefits of growing our green economy should be felt by all of us, all residents of Massachusetts. And most immediately, that means a seat at the table for the thousands of workers, our local workers, who will be constructing these offshore wind farms. We've seen that wherever there are good paying, fulfilling union jobs, there is a stronger, more resilient middle class. It's as simple as that. And in Massachusetts, our middle class is the backbone of our Commonwealth. Going forward, my hope is that this historic project labor agreement will be replicated in similar agreements for renewable energy and a new generation of economic prosperity around our country. So thank you all for working really hard on realizing this agreement. This is the first of so many milestones in the Vineyard Wind Project and in the story of renewable and clean energy right here in Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I also understand that a couple of other of your colleagues, Senator Sear and Representative Haddad, were unfortunately unable to make it today as well, but they've been longtime supporters of offshore wind. So we have a rather sort of star-studded gathering here on the stage, but our next speaker, from my perspective, is by far and away the most important of the bunch, in no small part because she is the chair of our board of directors, therefore my boss. And Secretary Katie Theoderides is also a stalwart supporter of offshore wind. And while she's been really the tip of the spear over the last few years in making progress on the policy side of things, she also realizes that in order to meet those aggressive goals, we have a lot of work to do on the ground. And that's what this event today is all about. Secretary?
Well, thank you, Stephen. For those who don't know, I'm the chairman of this board, so we pretty much had to say that. But it is wonderful to be here with all of you today for this historic day for the city and the state that launched the offshore wind industry right here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we are so thrilled to be joined by Gina McCarthy and representing the Biden-Harris administration, by our federal partners who have been such champions and hard workers for this project, and of course by my great colleagues in the state legislature who have continued to push this through, and with our superstar, the mayor of Bedford, who saw the vision for this industry well before it was a twinkling in many of our eyes. So a great day for New Bedford, a great day for the Commonwealth, and a great day for climate change. And to Vineyard Wind and Lars Peterson and his team, you know, if any of you were fans of Sesame Street in the 1980s, Vineyard Wind, this that was the show, but pretty much everyone in this room played some major role in getting this done, or is going to play some major role in its future, whether it's creating the workforce and making sure this project gets built, seeing the policy through, or taking the next steps to figure out what the future of offshore wind looks like as we move forward. I'd like to congratulate Vineyard Wind and the Southeastern Massachusetts Building Trades Council and more than 20 trade unions throughout the South Coast, Cape and Islands that are represented as part of this historic project labor agreement. It would be impossible to overstate how critical this project is, not just to the Commonwealth's goals, but to the country's climate goals. As President Biden has ramped up our federal ambition on this issue, the Commonwealth has done the same. Governor Baker signed into law a net zero target for 2050. And guess what? You can't get to net zero without creating good paying jobs and without offshore wind. Those are two critical components of this. And so looking towards the future, today is really, it's a day of action. It's sort of day one of the rest of our lives. We have another 800 megawatt project coming in to this very terminal and sited off our coast. We have a 1,600 megawatt procurement that is out to bid right now in June and September. And that bid is very focused on creating a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce and ensuring that environmental justice outcomes are prioritized through any of those bids coming in. That is a critical component of this and something we have to focus on going forward. As we create this new energy infrastructure in our country, we have to ensure that the communities that have seen the worst impacts and benefit the least are righted and are getting the benefits of this new industry, both in terms of jobs, environmental quality in their communities. And finally, the last piece I'd say on this is that Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Pluto are committed to making sure that our economic recovery dollars are being invested in housing, but also in environmental justice and environmental quality. And they've committed almost $1 billion in their plan towards those goals. One of them is specifically for port investments and offshore wind infrastructure, $100 million for those priorities. We look forward to our continued discussions with our legislative colleagues here and to all of you who are here to are going to help us make this possible, to use that funding to leverage significant private and local funding to really create this maritime industry that is just waiting to happen here in the Commonwealth. So my thanks to everyone gathered here today. Special shout out to Lars Peterson and to my federal colleagues, who some of which, Senator Markey, I was telling him his staff let us crash in his office during our many trips back and forth to DC in darker days over the last 2 years as we fought to keep this project alive. But there are just so many people who have played such critical roles in making this day happen. So thank you all, and look forward to us.
Thank you, Secretary. Also want to thank Representative Chris Markey, who is a member of the local delegation here. Has always had an open door policy, certainly for Mass DC and all of our offshore wind efforts. So I'm not sure that this next person, quite frankly, really needs an introduction. But I did mention how Mayor Mitchell has long been on the leading edge of this industry in the state. And certainly be said for Frank Callahan. Frank has been involved really from the get-go and has provided invaluable input into our thinking around workforce development. Frank?
I don't know where to begin, and a lot of people were talking about how to thank everyone, and I was thinking of the old line that failure is an orphan, but success has many fathers. I was getting that. This project does have many fathers and mothers. I've seen so many people in this gathering and this tent, and some people who weren't here today, who had so much to do to make this happen. And I'd be remiss, I can't thank everybody here, we'll be here till dinner, but I do want to have special thanks to the team on our side. I see Don Siegel, our attorney from Siegel Whitman, and Nikki Decker as co-counsel on this project, and certainly David Russo. We spend many a Friday night, I don't know what I'm going to do with my Friday nights now, on phone calls and weekends, and many other times on the phone to make this happen. And I'll take a bit of personal privilege here in saying Don Siegel was wrapping up his career. Don was the attorney on our side of that project labor agreement, and it's a fitting bookend to his career to be doing another landmark project labor agreement to protect our environment. So thank you, Don. Now, you may guess from my last name, my father had one hell of a St. Patrick's Day party every year. They were famous, some would say infamous. And the invitation always said, there are no strangers here, just good friends you've not yet met. I've made many friends over this, we've made many partnerships, and I see some people here from my past, people I've worked with, too many to name here today. As a number of people have mentioned, this has been a long time coming. Certainly my brothers and sisters in the labor movement, from the building trades in particular, the seafarers. But many elected officials that I've worked with over the years at the State House and in Congress, the United States Senate, and the City Hall, and certainly all of you in the industry have become my friends, and they really have become relationships. And the first relationship we really developed, and he stuck true to that, was with Lars Peterson. I remember the first time we met at Christian Spilzoni's office, it was, I don't know, 3 years ago. And he gave us his commitment at the time to building a U.S. domestic workforce using union labor to build this. Now, we had some ups and downs in the negotiations. Not bad, but so something different. But it was a long time coming, but throughout it all, I had to commend Lars for sticking to that commitment. And that's proof in the pudding is that we're here today to celebrate this agreement. So I want to thank you. So thank you to that theme with the past. I'm very happy to be here today again. And I say again because it was like we were here in May 8 years ago to do the groundbreaking for this very facility, which was built, as you heard before, under a project labor agreement. In fact, George here, who's speaking later, worked on that project under the project labor agreement. I see Carl in here, who's now with GE, who's now with Governor Patrick's office. And I remember when we negotiated this, I looked, I don't know where Mo is, but I looked him in the eye and I said, we will meet these commitments for a local workforce and a diverse local workforce. We will make sure that these opportunities are not locked out for the citizens of New Bedford and the citizens of the South Coast. We met those goals, in some cases we exceeded them, provided career opportunities with good union wages and benefits for area residents from the South Coast, and to make sure that they had those, not just a job, but a career. These projects, like this one today, the message I really want to get across, we don't want to be here all day, but it has been mentioned several times. Throughout my career, and I've been doing this almost 30 years with the building trades, there's been this false choice, this uneasy tension at best, conflict at worst, between organized labor and the environmental community and the push for renewable. And it's always been presented that in order to convert to a renewable energy economy, we have to sacrifice good union jobs. Whether that's jobs for coal miners in West Virginia, whether that's jobs for building trade union members, building power plants, and people working in those power plants, whether they be like coal, gas, or oil, or nuclear. I'm here to say that with this project, we show that that's been a false choice. It's not true. It wasn't true then. It's not true today. It's not true tomorrow. We can do both. We can have both. We're going to have both here off the coast of Massachusetts with Vineyard Wind. We think this sets the tone all up and down the East Coast. And this wouldn't have happened without, as I mentioned, the commitment of Lars Peterson and Vineyard Wind, and the commitment from the Biden administration. Remarks that when you go back to the White House, don't whisper in his ear, shout as loud as you can. better. The way to build back better is to rebuild America's middle class, to rebuild our economy from the inside out, as the Senate President said. We have to do them with union jobs and a project labor agreement with the men and women of America's building trades unions. Because they're the best trained, they're the most highly skilled, they're the safest and most productive workforce in America. And yes, Madam President, we did bring that project labor agreement for the cleanup of Boston Harbor under budget and ahead of schedule. We're going to do the same thing here in Vineyard Wind. So, again, thank you for and the next one, and the next one, and the next one after that as well. So thank you to everybody, to all the fathers and mothers who made this success a success. Thank you for all your work. It's a lot more work to do. We want to make sure we do it right, and we know we're going to do it right here in New Bedford and set the tone for the country and for the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. I too remember that groundbreaking. It was actually my first day as an employee at Mass CC. It was the last time I was as sunburned as I am today. So Mass CC is supporting a partnership between IBEW Local 223 and JDR Cable Systems to establish a high voltage and fiber optic training program for skilled electricians. Our next speaker, Kristen Wozniak, is an apprentice in that program. Kristen?
Thank you very much. My name is Kristen Wozniak. I'm not an apprentice. I am a journeyman electrician. I joined the union in 2007, not for a job, but for a career. The IBEW has not only given me the means to support my family, but it's also given me a sense of camaraderie. My brothers and sisters whom I work with every day, not just co-workers, they are family. And just like every mother, father, brother, sister, aunt, and uncle, I want to give the next generation a sense of security. In this day and age, green energy will help achieve this goal. How exciting it is to be a part of the first commercial, industrial, large-scale offshore wind project in the whole United States. But the ability to power over 400,000 homes and maintain clean air quality is just amazing to me. We get to be the first to install these massive GE turbines that stand 850 feet tall and have blades longer than football fields. These are the biggest in the world. That's pretty exciting. Not to mention, we also have right in our backyard, we have access to the best trainers. Mass Maritime has been training people for over 130 years on ocean work and safety. On top of that, as all union members, no matter what trade, we hold ourselves to a higher standard of safety and craftsmanship. We continue to educate ourselves and stay up to date with the latest and the greatest. To me, it seems very natural for Vineyard Wind to choose union labor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, and my sincere apologies. You get through this whole thing without a gap like that. That's such a So another program that Mass CC is involved in is sponsoring members of pile drivers and divers Local 56. I want to thank Dave Boris for all of his work over the years. Again, another fantastic union source of information for Mass CC and a terrific partner. But this program is focused on training and certification in global wind organizations, basic safety training at the Mass Maritime Academy. And thank you to Admiral McDonald as well and his team there again. Another absolutely spectacular partnership over the years. Through this program, Josh Rigby is pursuing his GWO certification in the fall. I hope this is right, Josh. Correct me if I'm wrong. Excellent. With the goal of working on the Vineyard Wind project. Josh?
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. First, I would like to thank those who brought me forward and giving me the opportunity today. Mr. Dave Burris. Once again, I'm Joshua Rigby with Local 56 Call Drivers and Local Nancy State Carpenters. I worked on this job last year for phase 1, and next is my GWO class to get me up to date with training and safety skills. project in United States soil. I'm proud to be a part of this project, and and this will also help me in the long run to have a better career, accumulating my pension, my annuity, and hours in the field. This will give me the ability to support my 5-year-old son and give him a better future. And I just look forward to telling him about me working on this project in the future. Thank you.
Architect of GE's vision of being a power player in offshore wind. John?
Thank you, Steve. And it's great to see such grassroots support for everything that's going on here. It's been your wind project. And I hope this can become more of a yearly thing that we get back together and do. But I do want to thank White House Gina McCarthy, Senators Warren and Markey, and Secretary Theories, because in getting to this point takes such support from the federal, state, the local levels, move everything through and get it to the point where technology companies like GE are willing to invest the hundreds of millions of dollars it takes to create the technology that Crystal just described. It's massive enough in scale that it can be competitive and drive down the cost of electricity and create a green economy. So I want to thank all of you for the continued support over a long period of time for this industry. For our part, we're proud to be working with Lars and the Vineyard Wind team in building the first offshore wind farm here in our home state of Massachusetts. They've been a great partner and a pioneer in the U.S. and for the offshore wind industry with a strong vision for a while. At GE, nearly 1/3 of all the electricity produced in the world uses GE technology to produce it. And so we're very proud to continue that tradition here with 62 of our Halion X turbines, the most powerful offshore wind turbine in the world. Again, that Kristen describes so well. It's massive in scale, and it's going to be built by the great people at here of Massachusetts. So I want to thank Frank and Dave and all of their teams for the great work that they've done with us to put together the agreement that confirms the important role the Massachusetts workforce will play in installing these massive turbines. The highly skilled men and women in this state, we know in our compact they'll build them in a safe, quality, and very productive manner and set the stage for many more of these projects to come in the future. And we look forward to building more of these in Massachusetts, across the U.S. and the globe. So we'll start here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Both John and Kristen mentioned the Halion X and the size. It's really a technology on a remarkable scale. Just a little factoid for you. One of the blades, the 107-meter blades for that Halion X was actually tested right here in Massachusetts, in Charlestown, at another facility that's owned and operated by Massey Seafood Technology Testing Center. Quite a spectacle when that blade came in, far, far larger than anything we've ever tested at that facility in the past. So I think, as most of you know, Vineyard Wind is a partnership, and one of the partners in that partnership is Avangrid. We're lucky to have Dennis Ariola, CEO of Avangrid, here with us today. He has a long history in both renewables and traditional energy, and he's bringing that experience to bear in dreams don't become a reality without risk takers. And risk takers sometimes get ridiculed, they get challenged. They have to have courage. They have to stick their necks out. So I really do want to thank and acknowledge the entire federal, state, and local delegation and your staffs for all the work that you've done to get us to this point. And to thank you in advance for all the work you're going to do, not just to get this project going, but to get our industry. We have a lot to look forward to. You know, you've heard already that this is a historic day, it's a celebration, and I agree. But what I'm really excited about is not what happened in the past, but what's going to happen. And we talk about jobs, and we talk about the impact of local communities. And I think about here in the state of Massachusetts, a star that people know by first name, Ted Williams. He would call this PLA a four-bagger. It's a home run for the workers, for the communities, for our industry, and the environment. And we know that this PLA is historic, but really it's forward-looking because it's going to set the precedent for ensuring fair, family-supporting wages and opportunities for people for years and decades to come. And I think that's what's really exciting. My company, I'm proud to represent Avangrid. When we think about projects and investments like this, we look at it through a lens that we call ESG and energy. We think about the environment, we think about society and jobs, we think about the governance aspect, and we think about financial strength. Because you have to have a balance, and it's got to be a pragmatic balance. And I think that the work that took place to get to this PLA shows that you can have balance, and you can have a win-win-win situation and outcome. It doesn't have to be one loses and one wins. I want to make sure that we've talked about a lot of the people that have been involved here. I want to make sure that we call out the exceptional team at Vineyard Wind. Lars, Bill Wright, Sean Mason, Charles Turner, Lindsay Patrick, Jen Simon Lento, Amy McGinty, Jack Aruda, Nuria Soto. Sounds like the Academy Awards, right? But there's so many more people that you don't see here, and so many more people that are going to be engaged in this. Again, not just today, but for years and decades to come. To Frank Callahan, the women and men of the Massachusetts Building Trades Council, thank you for your partnership, thank you for your trust, and thank you for the future collaboration that it's going to take to make this a success for everyone. You know, we have a bold and ambitious goal in this country to build 30 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030. This is the first step. Thanks and congratulations. Thanks, Dennis. And again, our last speaker probably requires no introduction either, but I'm going to introduce him nonetheless. And I've noted as some other speakers, the very hard work and actually implementing these projects. Nobody knows that better than Lars Peterson, the CEO of Vineyard Wind. Lars has lived through the ups and downs of a dozen or more offshore wind developments at this point in time. And he knows better than most of us that it's days like this that make so many of those other days worthwhile. Lars?
I just got some advice from over here that I have 3 minutes. So if you start counting very slowly to 1 I'll be done by the time you're here. So it's just a great day for me, for over here with all the shareholders. So I probably won't make 3 minutes, but I'll try to make it quick. So I came in with a little bit of spring in my step this morning. It was great to see everybody super excited about this project. I broke a sweat, with the nice warm weather. We actually like offshore wind, that it's cooler and windy, but we'll take it for today. But it's a great day, and I would like to start thanking the many friends who are here. And this project has been done by so many people, so it's a daunting task. There's risk in the beginning, but I'll do my best to get up to it because it's important for me and important for all of us to recognize and acknowledge all the support we've been getting. So first of all, about the Biden administration, the Katie, thank you for all your support. It's the Bay administration and Secretary of the Heritage are a strong supporter of this project. Chairman Roy, Senate President Spilka, Mayor Mitchell, and not least today, David from the trade unions. It has been a long road getting here. We're so proud that we got here. As you said, I remember the first meeting. We got out of that meeting thinking offshore wind out here, but we got there. And I would say to every brother and sister who's here in the unions, they are some tough cookies. There's been a couple of times where I've had to write to my team saying, we can't do it. We will get there, but it will be the next project, and we need to find good solutions for the first project to get that over the finish line. And I would say it's a testament to both of you that you are willing to find solutions, but also being pragmatic when needed and being tough on behalf of your members. It's been a pleasure. And while talking about the negotiations, I also want to recognize the project director, Klaus Muller. Raise your hand. So I'm actually speaking, but it's those three who have been hammering out the most of the details. So thank you, Klaus. It's been a learning experience for all of us, but we're so happy with the result, and we look forward to not only one project, but multiple projects where we can build on what we're grateful today. I also noticed that Joanne was here, so while it's not covered by the PLA we're signing today, we have also found strong solutions for bringing union labor into the offshore work, something with Jones Act, and we're very happy that we made that. So thank you for your support in this journey. I'd like to thank John for bringing these wonderful turbines to the market and your patience in finding solutions for this first project. I'd like to thank Dennis and Luke Liu, representatives of the two shareholders. It has taken very bold and brave shareholders to keep funding and pushing this project forward. It has been an experience to be the first one. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm really happy that we're at the end of the beginning, because I wouldn't want to do it again. But thank you very much for doing it. I'd like to thank Steve for emceeing, and also many others in the state legislature that's helped us. I noticed that Mike Currid, Mark Chico, Patrick O'Connor, Mark Montigny are here today, Representatives Fernandez, Hawkins, Hendricks. And I also want to acknowledge my Vineyard Wind team. We couldn't bring all of them, so we've actually started on the journey of building the U.S. offshore wind industry. So we're 150 almost on the way there. So we couldn't bring all of them, but thank those who are here, and not least my fantastic executive management team. Long hours, very difficult decisions, but thank you for So I'm really happy that we're here today signing this agreement at the nation's first and only purpose-built offshore wind port here in New Bedford. It's really where the journey will really start in earnest, and we will see the first offshore wind farm move forward. And I think when it happens, I think people will be equally impressed as I have been working in this industry and seeing these machines and see how what an exciting career you can get in this industry. And everybody who's here in this tent, you're instrumental in helping us. But I would like, and it's not because I'm not appreciative of all the support we've gotten, but I think I have developed some relationships over the last years that I want to acknowledge as well. Senator Markey, thank you for the many phone calls and your tireless support. You are a champion of this, and we wouldn't be here without you. Congressman Keating, you are a fighter and a tiger, and you want to do the same time. You're always there. Very impressed, and thank you for that. I want to thank Katie, your heritage. There has been many calls and many nights where we have tried to find solutions where there were no solutions. It's above and beyond what you can expect of the state government, and on a personal level, I want to thank you for all your support. It's amazing. Coming back to the White House, the Biden administration, Gina McCarthy, Secretary Holland, and not least, she couldn't be here today. I'm very sorry that she couldn't be, but Home Director Amanda Lifton, who has turned the administration around on this issue and is moving forward at a breathtaking speed and showing what government can do when it puts its mind to it. It's very impressive, and we're very thankful. So tell that to the president if you get the chance. It comes from the bottom of our heart. We are very thankful. I will get to the finish point at some point in time. So I was thinking when I was sort of trying to prepare myself, just going back, the history of U.S. offshore wind. There was Cape Wind. It was a protracted battle. It didn't end the way it should have been done. But nonetheless, there were people like Senator Pacheco, Speaker Pro Tem Pat Haddad in Massachusetts that were driving forward a very ambitious 83C legislation promoting offshore wind. And when Governor Baker signed that bill in 2016, that gave us the go-ahead to start thinking about offshore wind scale in the U.S. And I remember, I've been working in offshore wind for a long time. It's originated in Europe, and I was on one of the boats like you see behind me here. We were touring this facility, and we're like, okay, it's not going to be exactly like we're used to. It's going to be different, and there were so many obstacles to overcome. There's the Jones Act. There's all kinds of things that are different. But I remember as we were starting to getting surveys, as we were getting results of the mitigating principles, we started modeling the logistics. We were just getting to a point where we were saying, this is one of the prime places in the world to build offshore wind. And we got super confident. And one of the things we realized was that we could actually take a lot of the learnings, a lot of the technology developments that companies like GE were progressing with. We could take that to the U.S. so the U.S. didn't have to go through the 20-year learning curve. We could going immediately. And it is a little bit difficult to imagine today, but John, if I had called in 2016, you would be a little bit less enthusiastic about the prospects of U.S. offshore wind because Cape Wind has just been such a challenge for the whole industry in seeing whether the U.S. offshore wind. Of course, we were a little bit on our own and had to do a lot of assumptions. And we sat down as a team and we were trying to build on all the experiences that we've seen. And we set ourselves goals that we wanted to prove that offshore wind could be one of the source of clean energy. So there shouldn't be a choice between clean and renewable. We wanted to show that it could be delivered at scale. We wanted to show that it could be delivered quickly. And also that we envisioned be a partner that would start the industry and set it off on the right track. And in doing so, being the first, we wanted to be highly engaged with the local stakeholders, and we wanted to build this project responsibly for the offshore wind stakeholders, but also for the environment. And I think we succeeded. It was a long story getting here. It probably took a year or two longer than it should have been, but nonetheless we're here, and we're very proud, and this will be a story for the grandkids. Coming back to why we're here, so part of being responsible is also creating an industry that creates well-paying, sustainable jobs, and we're so proud that we managed to get this PLA for the offshore wind going. It's the first agreement. It ensures that 500 union workers will get the training and the jobs here, and it's not only for this project, it's for future projects to come. And today is actually about you, not about us. I think the stories that we heard also from Josh here, that's exactly why we're doing it. We can do this affordable, but we can also do it in a way that is sustainable and equitable. So we have put ourselves the target that we want to have a high degree of diversity and inclusion because it's the right thing and it should reflect the communities that we're working from. We have put up $500,000 as we had wind to create a pipeline of workers that can go into these jobs. And this is key to us and dear to our heart. And we think that we, today, by raising the bar, we set the industry off on the best possible path, and we're super proud, and we look forward to seeing you go out and build the towers here, put out the turbines out to sea, and I hope you all will realize that these are some of the coolest jobs around. You're going to work with cutting-edge technology, and it's just fantastic being out on the water and see those turbines spin. and breathe this. We believe in protecting the environment and seeing this transition through. We are so proud to be partners with all of you, everybody who's here. And I think this is actually marking the end of the beginning of you as Offshore Wind. And now we're moving into the future where we will be creating new jobs, sustainable jobs, and the sky is the limit. So I signed the first ever you as Offshore Wind PLA. I'm so proud. Thank you.
Yeah, so believe it or not, that's a wrap on the speaker program. And now we're here for the main event.